The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Residents of Southern Leyte are still trying to find ways to return to their normal lives after the onslaught of death. Let's get an update from Marlene Alcaide, who's joining us live over the phone. Marlene, would like to know, how are the residents of Southern Leyte holding up?
Yes, Riza, typhoon survivors here in southern Leyte are still at a loss on how they will start over again. Despite this, they remain hopeful even after losing their homes, livelihood, and loved ones. Hundreds of thousands of families in southern Leyte are left without a home after Typhoon Odette's onslaught. While some residents celebrated Christmas at the evacuation centers, plenty spent the holiday in their destroyed houses or in the homes of their neighbors. In Barangay in Liloan, typhoon survivors prepared the relief goods they received for Noche Buena. They cooked noodles, canned goods, and a kilo of pork. Although they lost everything but themselves, residents are still thankful for still being alive. Meanwhile, Yolanda hit places like Tacloban have already extended their help to the Odette victims. Officials say Southern Leyte was one of the provinces that helped them when Yolanda hit Tacloban in 2013. Yolanda survivors advised residents to be strong and have faith that they will rise again and be back to their normal lives. Right, Lisa, typhoon survivors in southern Leyte are still in need of immediate assistance, such as food, water, and construction materials to rebuild their homes. The province is now under a state of calamity. Lisa?
Thank you for that update and stay safe. That's Marlene Alcaide reporting to us. Now, in COVID-19 news, the health department logs over 400 new infections. The country's total caseload now stands at 2.83 million, 9,300 of which are still active. Over 100 more people died of the virus, killing or hiking rather the death toll to over 51,000. Now, total recoveries, meanwhile, are at now 2.77 million with 360 new survivors. More than 1% of the 25,700 tests included in today's bulletin yielded positive results. Chile has been named by Bloomberg as the best place to be amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, why is that? Let's find out in this video.
In the December COVID resilience ranking, we saw broadly that the arrival of Omicron has very much halted the momentum towards normalization and reopening that we were seeing through 2021. But still, a key differentiator remained that most major economies were not willing to go fully back to the lockdowns of 2020. Instead, they were using guidance, softer curbs, and reliant on accelerating booster campaigns to fight the new variant. In December's ranking, we saw that warmer places in South America and the Asia Pacific had the advantage because they didn't have to face the winter accelerating the spread of Omicron. At the same time, Omicron had not yet really advanced in the same way that we were seeing in Europe and the US. So in December, number one was Chile, followed by Ireland and then the UAE. And rounding out the top 10, we saw places that, although were facing surges of infection, were very much ahead on inoculation and being the fastest at rolling out the booster shots that we know are key to fighting Omicron. So in 2022, the key question as we see Omicron really take over in the US and Europe is whether or not death tolls are going to trend up in line with what we're seeing with case numbers. So in South Africa right now, the evidence is quite mixed. You know, we saw that hospitalizations and deaths did not go up in the same way. But at the same time, you know, South Africa is a very different place with a different demographic. And, you know, and just come out of a Delta wave, which may have conferred some natural immunity as well. We don't know how the situation is going to play out in the Northern Hemisphere right now, which is also facing the fact that cold weather is the optimal season for the virus to spread. So in the next few months, you know, that's really going to be the key question. important. Can the health systems, maintain what they're doing in the face of these infections? Will Omicron be proven to be mild and the death tolls stay flat, although the wave is surging upwards? And in the case of the US and UK, we're seeing the governments have said really that they are taking pretty much a hands-off approach. They have ruled out going back to the curbs or the lockdowns of 2020. So what that means really is that their outlooks are entirely dependent now on how that fatality line really trends. So in the ranking overall, although we do see that countries have, slowed or pushed back their reopening plans, that populations are less mobile because, of course, there is a fear of Omicron sweeping through the world. People are staying home more. We're not seeing a full reversal of reopening moves in the past year. Border curves remain very much open throughout the world. International travel remains possible. Essential shops and schools are mostly open as well. So that is a very different situation from what it was in 2020 before vaccines.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PTEX, hit a record high of 125,000 daily passengers on Friday. This comes after commuters flocked to the terminal to make it in time for Christmas. The management says they provided additional buses to cater all the commuters. The Comelec, meanwhile, clarifies that the final list of candidates for the 2022 elections is yet to be released. This after the poll body issued a tentative list of bets on Friday. The poll body says the names are not considered official candidates yet and will only be called as such when the campaign period starts. And over in Vatican, Pope Francis conducted his second pandemic Christmas Eve Mass at the St. Peter's Basilica. There, he called on to value the, quote, little things in life and show solidarity with the underprivileged. Around 2,000 members of the public and 200 religious figures attended the Mass. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch our news on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.